So, here's a bit of a curveball for the channel, but since I can't post this series due to Viz blocking it in the States, this'll have to do. So, 90 Sailor Moon. Pretty good adaptation of Naoki Takeuchi's manga, and I decided to make a whole ass YouTube poop series out of it. Why did I do it, and how deep does this rabbit hole go? Let's find out. So one night I was watching the final 2 episodes of the 90s first season with some friends, both Viz and Deke, and after seeing how badly they edited the final 2 episodes into one with a Deke dub, I got inspired to do my own attempt, and the friends seemed to like it. Then after a while, I thought, why not do that with the entire first season? And thus, Sailor Moon Shitpost was born. So what would I do with this project is that I would go through each episode and edit it to hell and back with some silly jokes and changes to the source material, while also trying to stick to the narrative as best as I could. So I did the first episode, and it was a lot of fun, but then a new problem popped up. So, since Sailor Moon's manga was a monthly release, it'd be really quick for Toei's adaptation to catch up to the source material. As a result, they made a bunch of filler in between episodes that adapt the manga chapters. So, how did I handle this? Well, I stupidly thought to also edit the filler episodes. Yeah, the results were very mixed. Now, some episodes would have multiple edits, but others would only get like one scene edit and then I just move on to the next episode. So what I would do with the filler is that I would put those into one combined episode. The only exception would be episode 3 of the Shitpost series, where I would also add in the 2 filler episodes that take place after Ami's introduction, but before Rei's introduction, because episode 3 of SMS was running pretty short on time. So yeah, episodes 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11 of SMS adapt the filler, or stuff that wasn't part of the original manga, like the 7 Rainbow Crystals, while the remaining episodes adapt either the introduction of the other Sailor Guardians, Serenity's Awakening, or the final battle between Usagi and Beryl/Metalia, as well as the antagonists of this arc. Would I do something like this again if I did the later seasons of the 90s series? Probably not. Because while there was a lot of great character moments for the cast, both side and main, it also meant there wasn't a lot of funny I could add in.
Enough talking!
Get to the f***ing
Alright, I'm gonna go down the list of how I affected the main characters and villains in the series, and then go from there. Usagi in this version, like her other friends in this shitpost, are age up to 18 and beyond, unlike her canon counterpart of 14. Now, some may hear this and raise a brow, I get that. However, the main reason I did this is twofold. 1, to make the relationship between her and Mamoru less awkward since he's in college in the 90s version, or at least the equivalent of it, while Usagi's in middle school, and the second reason is so that she can use guns. And also, for some reason, is the smartest in the country. I just did that to be funny. Yes, you heard that. Usagi in this version is packing heat. Why is that? Because I thought it'd be funny. That's it. And that's basically the principle I followed while doing this series. If I thought it'd be funny, I'd put it in. Usagi using a grenade launcher to kill the episode 1 monster and inadvertently the patrons of that jewel shop. It sounded so stupid, I thought it'd be great to put it in. Usagi using a sniper rifle that's way too big for her character. Fuck yeah, I'll do that. And so on and so forth. Outside of that, I edited her relationship with Mamoru to be less antagonistic and demeaning so that the later romance with the two would work a little better personally. Although she still slightly retains her catty relationship with Rei at points for the sake of humor. I'm not a big fan of that personally, but might as well have kept it in. I also softened her relationship with Luna as time went on to showcase that the two did grow to respect each other over the course of the series, unlike the original anime where the two were at each other's throats at points more than halfway through the series because, comedy. Kill me. Speaking of, the cowardly aspect of Usagi's character later on in the season, even after all this time as a hero, was an aspect I removed because she would have been past that issue 30 episodes into the series personally. Outside of that and the aforementioned firearms, not much was changed about her character. Ami's character was basically given the best treatment out of the Inner Senshi in terms of changes. She takes on a few monsters that Usagi initially got. She got some of the funnier moments like her fighting Rei in episode 8 or reading Spice and Wolf while Rei and Usagi are fighting for the 11th time. And she's in a relationship with that guy who can read the script/future in this version instead of potentially being in one in the 90s version.
How do you know my name?
Rei, on the other hand, got worse treatment in hindsight. I removed her romantic relationship with Mamoru because I thought it was stupid. She doesn't get many scenes as a result of this, but at the very least, this version does bring up her past and why she hates men, something the 2 animes never did, but the live-action series did attempt. And also, she did get a couple extra kills/saves, and also saved the group from getting frozen to death when Kunzite used that absolute zero technique because, you know, fire can melt ice. But yeah, I'll admit, she didn't get the best treatment in this version.
There's something weird going on here. Could this be the work of a monk?
Sadly, much like the OG season, Mako also doesn't get much in terms of screen presence or actions. She does get to kill the last 4 members of the DD girls in the finale and live, though there is that. That also leads to a funny moment of Toei and Naoko trying to kill me for breaking canon. But outside of that, she doesn't really get much after her introduction. Oh Christ, I thought Rei got bad treatment. Holy fuck, Minako got the worst treatment looking back on this project, and I love her character for the record, so I got no excuse for this. So, in her introductory episode, Jadeite saves Mamoru from Zoe's sight instead of Minako. Minako doesn't save the girls from Kunzai's barrier technique since he doesn't use it here. Her episode with Katarina was effectively cut since there wasn't a whole lot of funny I could add. But at the very least, she gets to knock the energy ball Kunzai throws at her and Ray back at him. Yeah, I got nothing for this. I should have given Minako better treatment, and I'm sorry for that. There's no funny segue here or anything. I fucked up, and if I do end up doing the second season and onwards, I'll try to do better with treating our character. Again, there's a lot of really good character moments, just not a whole lot I could do for funny. Similar to Usagi, Mamoru got treated pretty well in this version. Outside of the whole relationship that I addressed earlier, Mamoru does get a few changes that differ greatly from the original version of the anime. He's a bit more of an ass when he's tuxedo masks, as shown here.
Are you an enemy, or are you on our side?
I am an enemy.
But those are done solely for the sake of humor rather than genuine malice, such as this.
Then you're really our enemy after all!
No. Are you just making things up?
Yes.
One of those big changes I made to this character was around the time in the anime where he was abducted and later brainwashed by Beryl into becoming one of her servants. In this version, he doesn't get abducted. Instead, after Usagi gets stabbed by Zoisite's crystal thing, Mamoru awakens his memories and also unlocks his smoking bomber, an entire arc before he was meant to get it, which kills Zoisite. Also, fun fact, this bit,
Playtime is over, children.
literally a reference to the fact that in the Deke dub, one of his voices was Runa Romano, who voiced Spider-Man in the 90s Spider-Man Unlimited. But yeah, I digress. He also gets a few more kills in this version that were initially done by the other members of the Senshi, and he's also responsible for freeing the Rainbow Crystal monsters the second time they were captured in the anime by having him, Jada, and Nephrite jump Kunzait's ass to the Ferris wheel.
I won't play along.
He also helps Usagi kill Super Barrel in this version, since the footage used is from the Sailor Moon R movie climax, so everyone in the group gets the assist as well. Also, cross-eyed Mamoru. But yeah, Mamoru got treated well in this version, I'd say. If only I could give that same treatment to the others, but they got really good character bits, so I couldn't do a lot of funny. Anyways, onto the villains. Jedi gets effectively treated as the butt monkey for the first few episodes of the series. Even Beryl keeps getting his name wrong.
You have failed several times already.
So he quits in episode 4 and just leaves to vibe in the human world for the rest of the season. He shows up a couple times after episode 4, such as helping Mamoru against Zoisite and also dealing with Kunzait's ass. But outside of that, it's more so cameos here and there. Still better than his fate in the original show where he got sealed in ice or water or some shit. Nephrite in this version also gets to live since Usagi killed one of Nephrite's killers early on and the other two just quit. So he shows up in 11 to deal with Kunzait's bullshit. Outside of that, he's basically just helping people because his plan involves drawing out happiness, a rare emotion in a lot of humans. And as such, it's potent and powerful for Beryl's plan. His relationship with Naru in this version is much less romantic here, and it's more so him protecting Naru, similar to a big brother looking out for his younger sibling. And that's largely because adults being shipped with minors is fucking gross. Zoisite. I don't like Zoisite in either the manga or the two animes, so I just made him the new butt monkey until Mamoru kills his ass in episode 10 of the shitpost. Any moment I'm able to humiliate his ass, I fucking take it. Hell, Naru kills him for like 5 minutes by tackling him in the graveyard. Why does the scene in the graveyard even happen when Nephrite gets to live in this version? Well, there's a very simple explanation.
I forgot.
What I didn't forget, however, was that I kept in his relationship with Kunzite. Hey, I may not like this prick, but I'm not going to deprive him of his happiness. I'm not a politician. Speaking of Kunzite, he is roughly the same as the 90s version, but he does turn into the butt monkey after Zoisite dies, which is, sadly accurate to how the original anime portrayed him after a while. For example, in the shitpost, after Beryl tells him who Sailor Moon is,
No, Sailor Moon, it's good.
he still proceeds with his initial plan to uncover Sailor Moon's identity.
You're a fucking failure.
He does do what Mamoru did when he was brainwashed, so he does have more agency here than effectively whinging at Mamoru overtaking him as a general. And he is the one trying to kidnap the Rainbow Crystal monsters instead of Mamoru here, but in the end, he does get killed by his own attack still. Except in this version, it's a little more graphic with him getting cut in half before being turned into coke dust. Finally, we have Beryl, who's a little bit more proactive in this version, as she will send out monsters on occasion and fight Sailor Moon instead of Mamoru in the finale, but outside of that, she's roughly the same as her anime version, except instead of wishing for the power to defeat Usagi, Metalia just breaks out and takes her body. And that's all the character changes. Outside of that, there were also a few references to the original Deke dub I inserted throughout the run.
A long, long time ago.
Wait a minute!
No!
He is Tuxedo Mask, I don't believe it.
You're Queen Beryl?
Yes!
While I do view it as kind of sucking looking back on it, it did help the series get popular here in the West, so I kind of feel obligated to pay my respects to it, even in some form or fashion. What that also meant was using one of the best songs, personally, to come from that dub in the final battle, and God, that was a fucking pain. Largely because in the original version, the song in the background used the full song version of Moonlight Densetsu, the theme song for the first season. Needless to say, trying to get rid of the lyrics for that and inserting the deked up song Carry On was a pain in the dick. The same issue happened when I inserted the scene from the movie that I talked about earlier. Fun fucking times. Speaking of the finale, though, since no one gets to die from the Deity Girls here, that memory loss / reincarnation stuff that occurs at the end of the original season doesn't happen here. So that's gonna be fun to edit if I did season 2. But the process of making the finale was a headache and a half. Let me put it this way. Episode 11 of the shitpost was finished in February of 2024. The finale, aka episode 12, was finished in July. Why did it take 5 months? Was it because of heavy editing? No. So, trigger warning, mention of grooming. As mentioned previously, I made this series after watching some episodes with some friends. Well, those friends were RCV5 and Rio Decade 96. RCV was outed as a groomer around the time I produced episode 5, which was around November of last year. Needless to say, I cut him out of my life and removed him from my circle the day the document and proof was provided, and his silence since that point has only cemented his guilt in my eyes. But after kicking that creep to the curb, I did continue the series for a couple months until episode 11. Then in January of this year, Rio got added for enabling a groomer on multiple occasions and doing nothing to stop it. So I also kicked him to the curb once I found that out. But yeah, since there wasn't many people in my circle that watched or cared about the show outside of those two, I'd sooner jump off a bridge than go back to those two after finding out what they did. It affected my motivation to continue the series. Eventually, I did finish it, but that was more so for the sake of finishing what I started than out of genuine interest. But yeah, that was the Sailor Moon Shitpost project. Despite the behind-the-scenes bullshit, it was a fun project. Will I ever post it publicly? Definitely not on YouTube, because Viz will fucking block it, especially for those in the US. But I could always put it up on a Google Drive or Reddit if people were interested. At the very least, the episodes are saved on my end, and I still have most of the assets as files I used for this first season. So if I did jump into season 2, I wouldn't have to spend too much time getting everything set up. But if I were to do a shitpost for our season, it won't be for a good while, because I'm still thinking about if I even want to go through with that or not. At the very least, if I do, it's going to be because of genuine interest on my end. But until that point, I got some other projects to tackle. So until we meet again, I'm David Grimm, and thank you for watching.